Hello, friends, and welcome to back to Tulip, the first book in the Secret of Earth series. Chapter 18. The house was huge. When Tulip walked in, she saw the stairs leading up to the second floor. She looked to the left. The living room was right there. She saw the door that led to the dining room from where she stood. She looked to the right. There was a guest space. Dark hardwood covered the whole floor. The white walls brightened the whole place. The pack started to file in. Tulip headed upstairs. There were 3 rooms and 1 bathroom. One must be in the basement, and the other could be by the kitchen. The rooms were a good size. This place was definitely big enough for them all. Tulip thought she could turn the attic into the 3rd floor. Yes, that's a good idea. Hey Tulip, this place is amazing, Noah called from downstairs. I know, it's big enough for all of us, Tulip said from the top banister. She loved how the place looked. Yeah. That night, Tulip was in the room she picked for herself. She had asked Noah to let her alone for that night. She pulled out one of her special things from Mother. It was a bag of infinite dirt. It was all she needed. The other things were a bag of infinite sand and portal dust that let her cross up into other dimensions. She started to pour it all over the floor in a thick layer. When she was done, she focused on growing grass. The grass finished growing and she grew a gigantic tulip. It was going to be her bed, even though she didn't need it. Tulip grew vines and spun them into a bowl. She then went into the bathroom and unplugged the sink. Turned on the water and headed back to her room. Sitting in the bowl, she turned water and pulled the running water to her. She filled the bowl with the water and turned the knob and unplugged the faucet. Turning back into grass, she spun more vines into a table and a stool. The tulip changed to ice. Sorry. My apologies for that interruption. Then Tulip changed into ice and made a mirror of crystal ice. Tulip was enjoying making a room that fit the way she felt. Right now, it was comfortable. Downstairs, Noah was doing the same thing. The amulet Tulip gave him allowed him to do everything she was able to do. He could feel her blood running through him. It was a special blood. There were cells in the bloodstream that allowed the power to stay strong, and it kept whoever was lucky enough to live with it to never get sick. But he had a different approach to making the living room. He took some dirt and grew vines, and he wove them into a couch, a couple of chairs, and a small coffee table. He was also enjoying making the house his home. It was better than the cave. So what's the plan? Jonathan asked Noah. So is this the plan? Jonathan asked Noah. I guess. But Tulip hasn't really said anything. Why are you listening to her like an obedient little dog? Because I'm scared to death of what she might do if she gets mad at me. You shouldn't let a dainty little flower of a girl like her tell you what to do. I know, but I just don't care. I love her and I'll listen to her, no matter what. Wow. You can't even stand up for yourself in marriage. Pathetic. You're the one who's pathetic. I'm trying to keep my rear end from being crushed to death by my own wife. That's why you're pathetic. You can't even think for yourself. Will you stop that? I'm perfectly capable of handling myself. You're the one who's forcing me into a corner here. You shouldn't even be talking to me like that. Tulip heard you. Tulip, Tulip, Tulip. That's all you ever say anymore. Why don't you stand up for yourself without happening to bring her into it? I would if you stopped saying that I'm weak and worthless. You are weak, and you would be dead if it wasn't for her. You can't even look who's bringing up Tulip now. How dare you? John lunged at Noah, toppling him to the ground. Tulip came out of her room upon hearing the shouting. She saw John on top of Noah, trying to bite at him, but Noah was holding his jaw. What's going on down here? Why are you fighting? Again? Noah throws his father off of him, wiping the saliva from his hands. He says, Sorry, Tulip. Family issues. I'm part of your family, and I want to know why you two are always fighting. He's weak, John says, getting up off the floor. He can't even handle himself as a human. I'm not weak, you old washed-up wannabe. John and Noah fought on. Tulip felt nightmare boiling inside her. Yes, yes. Fight on, my puppets. Tulip had had enough. Stop it, both of you. Just stop it. Father and son in total combat froze in place at the sound of Tulip's risen voice. I have had enough of both of you fighting. Tulip couldn't help but turn fire. Her hair ignited into a brilliant blue flame, the hottest of flames. So cut it out, or so help me, I will end both of you. Tulip burned the hard wood where she stood. Smoke curled up from her. She turned and walked away, shaking her head. Noah and the rest of the pack were once again dumbstruck. Tulip had yelled for the first time to their knowledge, and ignited like a giant forest fire. It was scary. She always seemed so set back. Whoa, that was really intense. I've never seen her so mad. Noah said, flopping onto the floor. Yeah, and it was because of us, wasn't it? Are you stupid? Of course it was about us. Didn't you feel her flame burning inside you? Yeah. Wasn't sure what that was. Yeah. And she was only angry, Jeffrey, one of the pack members said, hiding under the table. What would happen if she goes crazy? That's a good question, Jeff. Really good question. Tulip slammed the door to her room behind her. Her head was spinning. She felt like she was going to throw up. It was a sensation she wasn't familiar with. Let me at him. I'll straighten him out. No, Tulip was swaying. It's not worth it. Oh, but it is. You see, they think you're just as pathetic as a piece of trash. No, they don't. Tulip stumbled onto her flower bed. She fell into the soft petals and let herself fall unconscious. Tulip opened her eyes. The world was dark, though, except for the dim lights that were consumed by the darkness. Nightmare was hovering over Tulip, smiling grimly, with her sides of her mouth curling at its ends. Her eyes glowed their dark purple-black, her hair matted all over, shined ever so slightly in the dimness. Welcome back, sunlight. What do you want? Out. No way. You're way too dangerous. You don't have a choice. As the sun sets each day, I can emerge from this darkness, from this realm, and strike fear into this miserable planet. And no one can stop me. Not even you. She grabbed hold of Tulip's conscious mind and weaved the darkness around them into a cage. Nightmare threw the light into the darkness of the cage. Her smile widened. She had control. Opening her physical eyes, Nightmare was free. She opened the petals and looked out the window. Darkness filled the world, but it was lighter than her realm. She rolled out and tested her body. She stumbled a little bit. She saw herself in the mirror. Her skin was pale, her hair matted, her mouth looked stitched, her eyes were purple-black. She smiled. She looked awful. Perfect. She stumbled to the door. Opening it, she looked out onto the house. It was darker than the outside world. Her black, torn-up dress would help her blend in with the darkness. She gingerly stepped down the stairs and headed for the door. She looked to her right, to the living room. Soft snores came from within the darkness. The sound of innocent sleep made her hungry. She quietly opened the front door, stepping out into the dark, quiet world. She smelled the air. There was someone out at night. That night, she had to find them. Nightmare walked down the road. The city was lit up. She saw the darkness that lay next to the city. Alleys were everywhere. Places to hide were good. Shadows also covered the city. She turned down one of the alleyways. A small group of thugs were gathered around in a circle around a barrel fire. They looked up and saw Nightmare, her crooked figure rounding the corner quietly. What do we have here? A little girl. Are you lost? A thug walked over to her with a menacing smile on his face. I'm not lost. I'm looking for you all, Nightmare said, with her head down, her hair covering her eyes. What did she say? What did she just say? One of the other thugs said, walking up behind the leader. She said she was looking for us. Yes, and I'm famished. Nightmare licked her lips with her long, black, snake-like tongue. Her tongue? What's wrong with you? Nothing. I just want to eat. You. Nightmare unhinged her jaw and revealed her fangs, long and sharp. She pounced at the leader, biting both of his cheeks in one bite, and she sucked away his soul and blood. Upon release of the corpse, she looked at the closest thug. Smiling, she walked like a cat on all fours around the man, looking for an opening. She sucked him dry just the same way, pouncing on him, biting both his cheeks, draining away his soul and his blood. Two were left. Nightmare shot her tongue at one of the thugs to the right. Then the left thug ran off to the entrance of the alley, which happened to be where Nightmare was. His plan was to run for it while she was busy with his companion, but his plan failed him. As soon as she was done, she jumped out of the alley and caught him around the neck with her tongue. He screamed as she dragged him back into the alley. Slowly, the screams of horrors faded away. And that is the end of chapter 18. I hope you all enjoyed it. This was a fascinating chapter to write. I can remember that much. I had a lot of fun with giving Nightmare that personality. And I do apologize again for the interruption that was made somewhere in the video. And I hope to see y'all again in the next episode. Till then, I'm Bait Tails. Bye, guys.